But you lot already know it is. How you guys doing? It's your girl, Miriam. Today, we've got the TRT experience, okay? Or say it for me?
TRT.
Yes, TRT.
TRT
experience.
Listen, I'm so embarrassed, but like we do. Let me tell you guys something. As you can tell, I'm probably like overly excited, yeah? Which, like, these lot know me as I'm not the most exciting person in the world, innit? So when I have good guests on, I get very excited.
Thank you.
But today, this is the first episode that I'm filming with people from my country. Yeah, we've got a full Algerian room today. Okay, we're going to get into our thing, our peoples. If you're here to learn and you want to understand a lot more about my culture, a lot more about our culture, what we do, where we come from, all of that sort of stuff, come through. And to my North Africans that are already here, you already know what the vibe is. So I'm excited. I hope you lot are ready to watch. And yeah, let's get into it.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. So, first of all, how are you? How are you?
Good, great,
He looks at
perfect.
me, he was like,
I feel amazing, but yeah.
Yeah.
I feel amazing, but yeah, a bit scared, like I told you.
Why are you scared?
I feel like, what's this?
This is a new space.
What I'm actually doing here.
New environment.
I'm actually very happy to see you.
Yes.
Thanks a lot for having us with you.
You're so
Appreciate
welcome.
that.
So if you haven't heard of these guys, right, they have been doing numbers and they started their podcast like how many?
It's about 4 weeks ago.
A month ago, I would say.
A month
like
ago, yeah.
Yeah. How many numbers have you hit?
We've got 11 million views.
11 million views in 4 weeks, guys. Please. I've been doing this for almost 2 years and you don't want to give me 11 million views. Well, like, sure, man, it's not even.
That's a big number.
It's a big number and you should be very proud.
Thank you.
Tell my audience a little bit before we get into what we wanted to speak about. I want you to tell my audience who you are, what you do, and why you do it. Like, why you started.
Well, basically, when we came here the first time, I personally came here in 2012.
Right.
You know, as a typical Algerian.
Mm-hmm.
And I was some sort of harag. You know, does it mean harag?
Haraga.
What is it? Harag.
Haraga.
So I was, yeah.
Illegal
So
part.
haraga, I was an illegal immigrant. You know? So I've been an illegal immigrant for almost like 2 years, I think.
Okay.
You know? And then
Right.
I managed to become legal.
Right.
With
the
obviously the right to live and to breathe and
Yeah, to
stuff like that.
breathe,
You know what I
and to
mean?
leave your house and to...
You know, when you're illegal,
things, yeah.
you have no rights. Like literally, you don't have the right to live. Can you imagine? It's not only the right to work. It's not only the right to sleep or to breathe or to eat. The right to live.
Right.
How crazy is that?
How hard is it, do you think, when... Obviously, because you guys came from Algeria, and you decided, for whatever reason, you're staying here. Like, khalas. Like, you're here, you've landed, you're staying here.
I'm here.
And you're going to make a way. How does it feel? I want people to know the experience of being an illegal immigrant and the haraga, that period of time of not knowing, oh my God, am I going to get my papers? Am I not going to get my papers? How do I work? How do I live? How do I make money? A lot of people, especially with my audience, they have never heard that story. They might know people, you know, from their cultures and their backgrounds, but they've never really understood or heard, okay, cool, like, when people come here to live a new life, the way our parents did, for example, for me, it's my parents, because I'm first generation, you don't get to see the hardship, you only get to hear the stories. So for me, it's very interesting, and it makes me so happy to have people like you who are doing what I'm doing, but you're doing it from that background. Like, you came from a whole nother country, you had to start your life all over again.
Yes.
And it is, you do, no matter what age. You can come in your 50s, you can come in your 20s, you have to start your life again because it's a new environment, it's a new language, it's a new system, it's like the people are different, the culture is different, and you have to manage that whilst trying not to get arrested or taken back home, and trying to battle the case of, I need papers, I need to stay here. So what is that experience like for those like 2 years, 5 years, however many years you were stuck?
That is not an easy experience, to be honest. It's just, we've been talking about that literally like 1 week ago, and you come like from Algeria to here, from the third world to the first world, it's completely different, you know, and you arrive to this country and then like you illegal, you know. For myself, I arrived in this country like with a visa in 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah. And then my visa expired, and then like the challenge starts, you know. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? You know what I mean? Like, it's just, And like I was like one of the youngest. Like when I arrived here, like all the people that from my country, from Algeria, all of them like old.
Yeah.
Not old, but like, you know,
Like-
like 32, 35, and I was
Yeah.
like 19.
Wow, like
You know.
5-10 years above you.
Yeah.
Wow, you
Different
came at
vibes.
19.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was like a different vibes to me, completely different. And like as well, like I don't speak English at all. At all. You know what I mean? Like zero.
Right.
That was the worst part for you.
Oh my
Is
god,
it?
for me.
Trying
it
to
was
learn
the-
English.
It was hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then like I start like slowly, you know. First thing, you know, like the first job I got, it was like you know, like doing like marketing for a company.
Okay.
Like
That's
for
a good first job.
A mini cup, you know, like a mini cup company.
Yeah,
At that time, there was
yeah.
no Uber and all that.
Yeah,
I was like doing leaflet on the houses, like walk a lot of
Yeah.
a lot of distance, walking for a lot of distance, and then I've done it like for a month, and
Right.
then my first job, it was like it's typical Algerian working in the kitchen. Kitchen porter.
Yeah.
KP.
Everyone starts
Can't
as a
beat that.
kitchen porter. Look, my mum's first job was a kitchen porter. When my dad first came here, he used to work in like sandwich shops,
Yeah.
and then he became a kitchen porter. It's the only thing we can do.
Exactly,
behind the
exactly.
scenes. Yeah.
This is the Algerian community because
Yeah.
like every Algerian, when they arrive to this country, like they start with a kitchen. Like
Yes.
and I hate it, to be honest. I
course.
hate it. I worked there like for 2 years.
Wow.
Like I start from kitchen porter and I start like going up and up till like I was working as a chef. And then like I think on my second year, so on that time, I started thinking like I need to get myself sorted.
Right.
I need to get my document because like this is not the life that I want.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
100%, yeah.
In 2013, I arrived here in 2009. In 2013, I got sorted. I got my visa. I got married.
No
Yeah,
way.
I got married.
Okay, question. You already know what the
Go
question
easy on me,
is.
please.
Okay. So you're Haraga.
Yes, Haraga,
You're
yeah.
doing your thing. You know, you're working now. You meet somebody and
Yeah.
you marry this person. Honestly, are you marrying them because you want to marry them, or are you marrying them for the papers?
No,
Let's get into it. Like, why not?
for me, to
At
be
the
honest
beginning,
with you, like no papers. to be honest,
security,
yeah,
right?
like,
Papers.
That was like my goal, my first thing. I'm sorry, like. It was,
Did she know that though?
huh?
Did she
No,
know?
no. I it's not really the thing, you know. The fact that you may actually do like the person, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the fact that you are an illegal immigrant, that's going actually to overpower the idea of you liking that person, because your
Right.
priority in this country is to
Thank
make
you.
documents.
It's your
So-
safety, yeah.
Exactly, it's your safety. So obviously, I can be with you, I can marry you, but without visa, we're not going to go any far.
Right.
So I have to prioritize these documents over you.
Right.
So if I say I'm marrying you because of the visa, it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm not.
Like,
Does not mean I don't want to be with you.
Right.
But for our sake,
yeah,
us, both of us,
yeah, for the relationship sake.
I need documents. Otherwise, I mean, we can do
That's-
nothing.
I
You know what I'm
hear you.
saying?
That's true.
Yeah.
And for me, believe me, like the girl that I got married to her, at a certain point she decided to go back to her country after 3 years. And for me, I said,
Oh.
yeah. Thank you. You know what? Thank you. Just,
Okay.
you know, and yeah,
Where was she from?
Latvia.
Ah,
East European.
I see.
Yeah,
okay. You
you
know, a
know,
lot
you
of
need to-
Algerians, they go straight to East European.
The easy option.
They
The
do.
easy option.
It's true. You don't know why Eastern European women, like I think, I don't know, they
It's
go
not-
with it.
Yeah,
like
this
they
is-
just
I
go
think
with
we've
it.
got the same vibes compared to
yes,
Western.
and it's not just about that. Like to marry an English girl, you need to go back home to get settled, to get your visa. You need to go back
Really?
home, and you need to apply from home.
No, I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Yes,
It's different.
And
So
like-
does it depend on where they're from?
Yeah.
So like the
Yes.
nationality or the passport they hold or whatever.
Yeah.
Yes.
And like you are not too sure if you decide to go back home and to get married home, the girl, she gonna follow you. You know what I mean?
I hear you, yeah.
And then she gonna go home and go to Algeria and like
It's
you do
culture
all that.
shock, yeah.
You know what I mean? And then she decided to go back home, and me, I said I was fine with it. I was so happy. Yeah.
So she went back
going
home. Did you get divorced at that
Yes.
point?
Yeah.
Okay.
After 3 years and like 6-7 months, I get divorced, and then I apply for another 5 years for another visa. So and I got it.
Mashallah. We'd
But
love
from
to
like
see it.
from us for the first visa, like the first time I got the visa, as soon as I got the visa, that's it. I started to manage myself. I started to get a job. I'm a
Good.
human now.
Yeah,
I'm like-
you feel like you can breathe.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
This is my
experience.
True story.
What about you?
I think my story was kind of the same. So I came here in 2012. So obviously I was an illegal immigrant, but the only thing that I had comparing to Hamad is I spoke in English when I came here.
Okay.
I had good English.
So you studied back home,
I
and
did,
then
yes,
you came.
I did. And then I decided to come to England. It's not because I was poor back home, or it's not because I was struggling financially. I just was too curious, like to discover a completely different black culture and stuff like that.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, so I came here. I'll tell you a story. When I came here, after 3 months,
Chat to me.
I became homeless.
No way.
Yeah, so I was sleeping on buses.
Wow.
Yes,
Okay.
I used to sleep in the buses because they at least you stay warm. You know what I mean? It's better than
Yeah.
the street. And then I've worked in this Indian takeaway. I used to start at 3 p.m. and finish at 2 a.m. I used to get £25 for that.
Wow.
Cash in the hand. You can't imagine how bad is that?
terrible.
Three.
That's
Say that
terrible.
again. So three.
So I was doing almost 9 hours for £25.
so
I
what's
was
that per hour? Like
It's like
It's
£4,
like £3 or
£3.
something. Yeah.
Oh
So
my god.
and I've worked 3 weeks. You know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I was coming from a background that I was a dude that have had education, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? I'm like, oh, no, do you know, I'm not going to
Yeah,
do that.
of course.
I did not come for this purpose. And then I left here. And then I met this girl. And I liked the girl. And she liked me just.
Okay.
Wallahi, bro. Wallahi, bro. Wallahi, I'm not lying, bro.
I saw I looked straight into the camera. I was like, okay.
Wallahi, bro.
He said he liked the girl.
Yes.
She liked him. Okay.
I liked it. But again, the fact that I need to prioritize
Yeah.
me being legal in the country, otherwise I can't go any far, is like
You have
either
to-
by myself or with her. So I needed to focus on that. And she was fine with it. She was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's get married for that. And then, we've got married and then we spent almost 6 years together.
Oh wow.
You know, it was a nice relationship. And then at the end, I met her when I was a kid. So I was like 20 years old, you know what I'm
Okay.
saying? And then when I got 26, I started getting older.
You're
know?
different.
So my mindset started like
changed.
change. And the same for her. So and then we realized that we've gotten a complete different goals in life. So we've ended up the relationship in peace, you know?
That's good.
And I'm still in touch with her.
Oh, I love
Yeah, so I'm
that.
still in
Think
touch with
about
that. It's
it.
all,
Yeah.
then
Think
it's
about
all
it.
going well. And then
I love that.
I became legal and then I started working. I was doing like waitering jobs and stuff like that. And then I joined the Juice.
Cool.
I was like a barista in the Juice. I was just making juice, but I've loved that company, by the way.
Shout out Joe and the Juice.
Shout out Joe and the Juice.
Listen, if you ever want to sponsor us,
Right.
come through. You're helping our people. You keep helping us. Come
You know
through.
what? Joe and the Juice, I was coming from a background that being illegal, hanging out with it's like only illegal boys,
Yeah.
right? When I got into Joe and the Juice, I met some real people, you know? I used to work with a lot of Danish people, and Danes, like, they're amazing
Shut up
people.
again.
They're
Yeah,
like
shout out to the
charisma, they have
Danish.
strong personality, so I've learned a lot from them.
Right.
And before I started Joe and the Juice, I'm not sure if I can say that. I was a bit dodgy, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Happens.
And I was not dodgy because
You're right.
I needed
You needed to be dodgy. You weren't dodgy
because-
to be dodgy. Like
Exactly,
you needed the
because
money.
I did not have the right to work and all that. So
Right.
I went to Join the Juice with that mindset.
Okay.
And then I realized I was like, no, I think you're a bit of a waste man. Just get yourself integrated.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I was gonna, but that was your opportunity to integrate properly.
To
Like
integrate
you're
properly,
forced
yeah,
to integrate because it's your work. It's like you can meet people with your friends or whatever. Because I know you spoke about this, but I see this a lot with the Algerian community, especially when they're like harg or wherever the weather, they stay within their own community.
Yes.
And there is a problem. There's a blessing and a problem in that because no one will have your back like your own community, especially when you're new here. There's a lot of people that will pick
I like
you up.
this, yes.
But if you stay in that, you're not going to progress as an individual in the UK,
Thank
which
you
is your
so
purpose.
much. Yes.
So like I always say to people, the first year, second year, yeah, do what you need to do. Like kindness, leave the door. Do you know what I'm saying? There are
Yeah.
people that are going to pick you up and take care of you. Do what you need to do. Once you've gotten to a point where your papers are coming or you've got your papers, so you're getting closer to actually permanently being here, integrate.
Exactly.
And it's by choice. Like, go get a job somewhere that you maybe think I could never like work with certain people and mix and see because like even though in Algeria we have other cultures and other ethnic minorities, Algeria, we're still very Algerian. Do you know what I'm
True,
saying? If
true,
anything,
true.
they take our culture, they
Yeah.
become one of us, and we're all like, we all, even though we integrate, it's the same. Do you know what I'm saying? But when you come here, you're forced to accept your identity and understand who you are and merge that with other things when you integrate. So it's really good that, like, shout out Joe and the Juice.
Shout
Do you know
out
what
John
I'm
the
saying?
Juice. You had to blend
Shout
in
out
it.
Joe
John
and
the Juice. It was all about the vibes, and it was a really good
Yeah.
time. And then after 2 years at John the Juice, in fact, after 3 years, I became a senior manager.
Sick.
So I was like, hey,
You were
know,
the
I was a
guy.
bit of a big boy, you know.
That's the
guy.
Yeah.
3 years ago, I was a legal immigrant. Now I'm
No.
like a boss, like a manager.
Yeah.
Yo, what are you doing? Have you done them tasks?
Yeah.
You
A
know,
big boy.
It feels so good.
The guy, you know?
I was like the
What's
guy,
the
innit?
guy, yeah.
And then after John the Juice, obviously as an Algerian, I could not accept the fact that I'm employed. So you know what I mean.
Right.
I was very defensive person.
Okay.
We all defensive. I
Typical
reckon.
Algerian.
Typical Algerian.
Do you
I was
think-
very
do
defensive,
you know
very
what,
emotional.
yeah?
You know what I'm saying?
I want to speak about this. Because I feel like maybe because I'm born and raised here, like we just hide from the truth a little bit. I don't think that Algerians are defensive. I think we've gone through so much as a people that we're so protective of who we are.
And we're proud of who.
Yeah, we're proud and we're protective. Like, you can't say nothing to me about my people.
Yeah.
My people, maybe they can say something.
Yes.
It depends on who's saying it. But like outside of my culture, you can't say nothing.
Say nothing, yeah.
Right. But defensive, I don't know. Some people
I
will
think
take
we
that to offense.
That's because we're very emotional. You know what I mean?
We are.
And it's really hard for us to control our nerves.
We're
You know what I mean?
passionate.
Well, not necessarily, you know? because being defensive, that's being defensive is like a sign of insecurity.
Yes, it's
And,
a coping mechanism.
Exactly. So
Right.
being defensive, I'm not actually saying it in a good way. I'm saying it. I mean, being
Yeah.
defensive is like I do regret.
This is how you
Like
know.
for me, being defensive, but
Yeah.
now I think I'm more calm.
That's
But-
good.
Yeah, I was very defensive at the time, and if you talk to me or if you ask me to do a task, I get so angry. How could you say that? You know what I mean? I'm a
Right.
real G. Don't say that.
Yeah.
to me.
I'm a top
You know what I mean? I'm like, don't say that to
Don't
me. Yeah, I'm
kill
not going
me.
to do any tasks for you, especially like seeing a European guy. You know what I mean? It's so weird for me.
No,
because I'm-
do you know why? Though? I think I agree. There's defensive there, but I think as Algerian people, we don't like being told what to do. Anyways, because we're very passionate, we're very creative, and we're productive. We're not like there's a minority that is lazy because there's lazy
That's
people
normal.
everywhere. But I'm saying out of like within our culture, we have good work ethic. No matter like how you live, the lifestyle, like we work, we will build for ourselves. Like if we're not content in our situation, we will make sure something happens. So when you're doing that and then you have someone above you that's telling you what to do, you're like, yo.
You always say that. I was like, oh yeah,
like
don't
I
say that.
I say this all the time. I always say I can never work under somebody. And even though like it's a part of life, you have to work under people, you got to make money. Me personally, I cannot do it. I have quit jobs because people give me headaches. I'm like, listen, look, wallah, the money is not worth it in my eyes. Don't speak to me like that. I'm going home. I quit. Like, I quit a certain retail store that is too big for me to name, but I quit a certain store in London and I was there 3 weeks and I was like, no.
Not for
Like,
me.
Not for me, boy. No. I'd rather be broke and find a way to make my own money and build slowly
Rather than stay
than
there.
have someone be disrespectful because they think it's a part of their role. It's a power complex. I'm not with that personally. Like,
Yeah.
and I think Algerians were just like that. I think we
have
don't
that. We
like
have
that.
that.
I do not find it a good thing though.
It's not a good thing. It's too much pride. There's a lot of pride that pushes that.
That's why we like be proud about like how we are.
Yeah.
That's why like it's just hard for us to accept like to work for somebody like and above us and like he tell you like what to do, what don't do. Like
But do you think that's our fault?
I think we've gone through a lot of walls. You know what I mean?
right.
We've got through a lot of walls. So we became an independent country in like 1962.
Yeah.
And then we lived like civil war for a long time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we've been fighting like for ages. So I think as a result of that, we became who we are now.
Exactly.
So if you literally say anything bad or about to be bad, we
We're
get like,
sensitive.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're very sensitive.
And I-
very approach. And it's not a really good thing. That's
It's
what I'm
not a
saying.
good thing, but I understand because for me, it's obviously I'm not born and raised back home, but for somebody to be born and raised here and to go back home and be educated, the way we're educated is different from how like you would live your life and understand, right? So when it comes to me, it's like we have gone through so much hurt and pain by ourselves. That's the key part. Like, we did everything by ourselves, and as a people, on top of that, we won. Please, no one can
Don't
chat to me.
talk to me.
Don't chat to me. No one wanted to help us when the French were coming
Yes.
into our land and doing what they were doing. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, when we went through Civil War, we did that by ourselves.
That's
like,
true.
no one wanted to help us. Cool. Like, I'm not asking for help. I'm not salty, but don't try and.
I'm not sorry. I like
Yeah,
this.
I'm not salty. Don't get it twisted. But I think it's something that generations like have passed down. Like, it's a part of like almost our DNA, because we have to be like that because of everything that we've gone through. Otherwise, we would have never been successful by ourselves. You know?
True. Yeah, and then after that, after joining the Juice, I started becoming. I've learned what does it mean, the word hustler. Like, you know, I like this.
Hustle.
I'm gonna be a hustler.
As we're
I'm gonna
hustlers.
hustle.
Yeah.
Well, I started hustling, and so I've opened a few businesses and all that. Like, a few did work, a few didn't work. You know?
As business goes, and
And then eventually I decided to do what I really enjoy. I love social media, you know. What I mean? Yeah, I like social media. you
Yeah.
know? Oh yeah.
I have a love-hate relationship.
I enjoy it.
I like
enjoy it, to be honest.
Do you?
I like scrolling and seeing the reels and what
See,
people
I'm not
doing.
like
I was
that, you
that's
know.
amazing. No, I like it.
Really?
And it's like, and I always watch it from the perspective of like learning and seeing how do they do that, how do they create content. So that's what makes me really curious, like scroll and see. And then I decided to start this podcast. Yeah, and I think this podcast is doing great.
It's doing
Very
great.
Great.
Great,
trust
والله
me.
great.
Ah,
Do you know what? I wanted to bring you guys on here, obviously I'm selfish for me, because I wanted to have this conversation. But also, I have not seen a podcast that tailors itself to its people and its community so well. So well. Like, you have the subtitles, you have the guests, you have like your outreach, your topics make sense, they're relatable, and it's all about identities, like being Algerian, going back home. George, shout out to George. I watched your episodes,
God.
and I'm telling you, whenever you're ready to go Algeria again, shout me. Let's go. I want to go and vlog George back home. George is one of their white friends. I'm going to leave the link to the episode down below, who went to Algeria with these lot and had the time of his life, and it was the story times. They're amazing. But I want to talk about growing up in Zaire, like growing up back home, because I used to always say, like, we went back home every summer when I was young, and I used to be so not jealous, but I used to be like when I go back home, I get to be a child. Like, you know, in Zaire, like, you have the huma, the ends, and everyone knows each other. And like, you like, you go play out till Maghrib, whatever. Everyone's just out and about. Everyone knows each other. Like, it's just such a vibe.
It's amazing, isn't it?
And, you know, growing up here, we don't have that.
It's completely
You know
different.
how it is here. Everyone minds their own business. No one, like, I've lived in the same apartment building for maybe 11 years. Or maybe less, I don't know. But we don't integrate as neighbors. Like, we don't speak, we don't go out, we don't do certain things. But like back home, the community, it's like your neighbor is your uncle.
That's
Exactly.
it. He
You're-
can slap you.
Yeah. If they see you doing anything, you're gonna get
to you.
slapped. Like, they will discipline you like it's your family. And I think that's I wish I had that. Like, I wish I could have had at least a year or like my childhood to be like back home, because we had to grow up differently here, you know?
I know what you mean.
Yeah, so I want to know. Tell me
You
the
don't have that
gems.
experience, like you cooking and like you don't have onion and your mom send you like downstairs, I'll go to the neighbor, grab some onion.
What? Sarah
you
have
know,
that.
I mean, that happened a lot back home, you know. It does happen.
Yeah.
I think you guys have had a lot of things that we could not get when we were young, you know.
Like
I
what?
didn't have a PlayStation when I was young.
You think I had a PlayStation?
I didn't have a bicycle. No. It was
bicycle,
a massive task for me to ask my dad to buy something.
Yeah.
That was like a big thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, if I do ask my dad to buy something, he's like,
Of
"No,
course.
son, we can't afford it."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's
But-
different. There's a good way. There's good thing and bad thing. So
But for you guys, you can easily afford that. But we're very connected, if
Yeah.
that's the word. like to our families, like for me, my mum was my dad. I like, wow.
Yeah.
They're like my,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Of
It's not like
course.
for you guys, it's a bit different. The where you find a kid saying, be like, like, don't say to me I'm independent and all that.
Whoa, is this the perception that we have?
Yes, you know, we do not have that. We do
Oh,
not have that.
let me
My dad is wrong. My mum is wrong. I'll always
Yeah,
say
you're
yes,
no.
right.
You're not wrong. You're right. Even if you're wrong, you're right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
We don't
I
have
think,
we don't have that.
look, listen. Just because this is another thing that I've realized. Like every time I go back home, no matter how much I love Zaya and I love my country, I'm still the English girl. No matter what. And I'm like, guys, it's not my fault I was born here. Like, I wanted to be born back home and you don't want to accept me. Like, I'm not welcome in London. I'm not welcome in Blairs. And it's a real thing. Like, people, like, have identity crisis because you go back home and, like, back home, they won't treat you different. They'll treat you like you were there your whole life. Do you get it? But you still feel things. For example, I remember... where did I go? I think we just went out to go order or something. Just went out to eat with a couple friends. And I got into a cab. I booked TSA. This is very, like, maybe pre-lockdown, right? And I was like, well, I was confident in my Arabic. I was doing my thing, whatever. Started speaking to the guy, the driver. He's like, where are you from? He's like, you have an accent. My confidence demolished itself. I was like, what do you mean? I was like, he's like, you got an accent, like, in Simnin. And I was like, oh, I was like, yeah. I was like, oh no, I'm from Betna. Like, just start throwing random areas, like, because no matter how much I am in touch with my culture, I will forever have that difference. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'll never properly be Algerian. But I want to know, what's your favorite childhood memory from being back home? If you have like a childhood memory, like anything, like going to the shops, games you played, like places you went to, family memories, like what would your favorite memory be?
For me, to be honest, it was like my favorite part, like to go to the farm every Friday.
You used to go to the farm?
Every Friday.
No
and the
way.
holiday, like, like we have like you study and then you have like your 2 weeks holiday.
Yes.
I always spend it in the farm.
No way.
I always spend it in the farm.
Do you have animals at the farm?
Looking after the sheep, looking
Oh
after the
my
cow,
God,
like,
this is what I'm
riding
saying.
donkey, horses.
Country life, guys.
Yeah, countryside. I always spend a lot of time. Even now, when I go back home for like holiday, I spend most of my time in the farm.
Really?
Because I live in the city in Tiaret.
Right.
But like our farm, my father's farm, is literally like half an hour away from the city.
Okay.
So we always go there and like barbecue, spend time with the people live around there. It's just, for me, that is, I always like be appreciative of that. I love it.
Guys, I might cry.
No.
Well, I might cry. Oh, I miss
Tino
my
got
country.
a lot of stories,
He's trying to think of a good one.
I think me when I was young, I was very...
Naughty.
Yes,
I can tell.
Trust me. Oh my God, you know what I mean. But I think I was a smart kid a bit, you know.
Yeah, but not the good
So
smart.
out of all my friends, right?
Right.
Out of all my friends, when we were kids, right? So there's like 11 of us or something. I was the worst in a way.
Okay.
I missed school.
Oh, yeah.
I swear. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I don't want to say uneducated, but
You just
But,
were,
you know,
he was
yeah,
up to badness. Is
yes,
what
a
we would
lot
say.
of energy. I had a lot of energy, and then
Yeah.
and all my mates, they were calm, like, oh, you know what I mean, well treated, or mom, dad, you know,
Well-mannered,
exactly,
like,
well
yeah.
manners and all that. Eventually, I made it to uni, and they all didn't.
Wow.
You
See,
That
that's what I'm
is the
saying. That's
difference,
the thing.
yeah.
I'm the only one who made it to uni.
Wow.
So
What did you study in uni?
I've done I've done a Arabic and foreign languages. I was
So-
doing English and Spanish, and
Oh,
then I've
cool.
done human sciences, like almost like a human resources.
Right,
HR. So
yeah.
I've done HR,
Okay.
Yeah.
Sick.
and then I decided
To come here.
to come to the UK.
Wow.
Yeah, that what happened. But yeah, so like I say, well, it was like when I was young, I was bad in a way, but I think I was smart enough to make it from school. And all the teachers used to say it to me as well. They said to me, "You're a piece of shit." But yeah, we like you because you study well.
Do you know what?
what I mean?
I love
Yeah.
that. I think a lot of even me, when I used to go to parents' evening, when they used to have like parents' evening at school, all of my teachers were like, "Oh, Miriam, she's lovely, but she talks too much.
She talks a lot. So I had that.
All I do is chit chat in class." But you know I'm getting my grades, so it's okay.
I mean-
But I feel like Algerians are like that though. Like we're respectful. We're not gonna be super disrespectful, but we just want to have fun and just enjoy. We'll get what we need to get done, but let us, breathe.
I even used to argue a lot with teachers.
Did you?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
lot.
no.
Oh my God, a lot.
What is the schools like in there? Like growing up, going to school.
Oh.
You get beaten a lot.
beaten a
Do
lot.
you?
Oh,
They
yes.
still do that?
No, it's not the case.
Okay, cool.
Because the governments today
They've
taking it
had
really
to-
I think
serious.
it's not just about like in the school. Even it's outside the school.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you have a lot of
You're beaten
challenge.
everywhere,
You
right?
have a lot of challenge outside the school. You know, like the bully. A lot of people they bully you. You know, this is the thing,
Really? Yeah.
I used to hate it.
The culture.
Yeah. For me, especially for me, like I was short. You know, like I was small. Like and
They used to bully you.
bro, I hate it. Bro.
No, so Algerians are like, look, the way we show love is we pick on you. We'll
Oh
pick
my
one
God.
thing and we'll never let it go. And you are like this now. This is who you are. This is your identity. But it's all love, I feel like, at the end of the day.
Of course, yeah. It's all love. It's all
The
love.
way how you grow up in Algeria, it makes your personality. To be honest, like
Yeah.
the way how we grow up, like it was rough. To be honest, some of it was rough, but like it made you the men how we are now.
It's not only Algeria. I think it's all the African continent have this similar, like, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? The
Yeah.
way we grew up. I think whether you go to Nigeria, whether you go to Algeria, Morocco, I think it's all same.
It is all the
They
same.
find all that. It's
Because
all
people
same.
forget, like, Africa, like, the way the African countries are, the baseline is the same. Our morals are the same. The way we live is the same because we're all in the same situation. It's just the culture that separates and faith
Yeah,
and
that's
whatever.
it.
But then at the end of the day, we all go through the same thing. And I think that's why, like, especially in London, why a lot of minorities integrate very easily because it's a lot of African minorities, a lot of Afro-Caribbean people, North Africans, because we have the same moral standpoint or like even basic things like the way you speak to your parents, whatever. It's not like the English. Do you know what I'm saying? So we bond over these
Yeah.
things and we get to integrate a lot more. What do you remember the first culture shock you had when you came here? Like the first thing you saw and you're like, what is that? Like, what are people doing?
I had a lot of shocks, like things like I don't know, it's like things like going to toilet and things like if you eating and you're acting in a certain way, like I don't know, like burping for instance.
Oh yeah.
I used to do that a lot back home. I was like,
Oh, okay.
you know what I mean?
Just casually burping, yeah.
When I came here, it was like, no, bad. Oh,
Yeah.
that's bad. Don't do that.
Mano.
And then I saw other things that here are fine, but for us are really bad.
Like what?
Like farting, for instance. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah.
And I was like, no, don't do that. That's
Yeah,
really bad
like,
for
what
us.
you
But
doing?
here it's like, kind of, you know, you see white people can get crazy sometimes.
Yeah, white people are a different
They're
breed.
so different, you know.
different.
And I
Yeah.
got that
Yeah.
shock at the beginning, and then and also, you know, something very serious. I'm going to say, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've learned a lot. Luckily, is how to deal with women. No.
Interesting.
Yes, the way I was
Very
seeing women when I came here for the first time, and now it's completely different.
good. I like
You know
that.
what I mean? Yes. The way I've met my ex, and the way I was dealing with that in my first year, and then my last year, it's completely different. My first
Right.
year, I was like a typical guy thinking that
You could do what you want,
exactly I can do what I want, but
Yeah.
you cannot. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
yeah.
And then I realized I was like, oh no, dude, it's different, man. It's
Women here, listen,
you know?
different.
and women
by time,
are
dude.
crazy.
Yeah.
Whereas here, there, no matter what, like you think, oh, okay, cool, come, me, I'll do the same.
I'll do
Let's
the
see,
same. Here
let's
you can
see.
get told
That's
off, but you know,
Yeah.
girls back home, no, they'd be like, okay,
Yeah,
you know, you're the man.
Yeah.
But here, no.
really. Do you think
Right.
back home, women are more submissive?
You know what? It's really hard to compare because being submissive for us back home, because girls back home, they did not grow up as the same way
We grew up.
as
Yes.
here.
Yes,
It's
I-
different.
that's
So
yeah.
true.
back home, they had you know, they were missing it's like they were actually missing a lot of things. So,
Right.
and they always think that these things that they miss, they're gonna find them in men. And like here,
Interesting.
you know what I mean? They get these things from their family. Back
Right.
home, they don't get that from their family because being a girl back home is a bit. You know,
Hard.
being a girl, you're almost like a servant back home.
Do you think so?
Oh, 100%.
It's
100%. Majority, most of the families, I'm not saying all,
Right.
but most of the families, you're almost like a servant. You serve your dad and you serve your brother. You make them do, and then you get married and then you serve your husband. So that's how it
Interesting.
works. So most of the family, I think so. Most of families, from what I've seen, you know. But now it's a bit different.
Yeah.
Now it's a bit different.
I was gonna, because I feel like traditionally, yes.
This is what I was going to say.
Traditionally,
Yes.
yes.
But I think Algeria now is the tradition's gone out of the window.
Yes, yes,
you know,
It really has.
In the big cities, we're gonna
Yeah,
talk in the big
yeah.
city, but like in the small city, like I'm talking about like
Towns.
small places, and they still like, for example, as like a desert. Like me, George, and I, we went to Gardea, for
Yeah.
example,
Oh,
and like
Gardea.
George said, like, "Where's the woman?
Is it?
Hey, where's the woman? I can't see women. There's no women in the street." You know what I
No.
mean?
Right, it was only one city though. It's not even a city. It's a little town, very
It's like
traditional, very
really-
It's
conservative.
conservative.
Yes.
That's it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You don't like, okay, the freedom that you get in Iran, for example, in Algeria,
Yeah.
whatever, you are not gonna get in the desert.
Right.
No, like
so every town you feel like has a different system
That's
when it
it.
comes to
Yes.
women. Interesting.
Yes.
So okay, cool. Because I've always wanted to go to Gardea. Yeah. So if I went to Gardea
yeah.
and I was just walking the streets on my own, do you think that? How do you think that would work? Like,
I think it's the safest literally
Yeah?
town in the
In
country.
Algeria.
It's very conservative,
Yeah.
very religious,
Right.
you know, but yet very safe. That's what that's why I personally like Gardea. It's extremely safe. You can
Right.
walk whether you're a woman, whether you're a man, and people that they're very, very reserved and they mind their own business. Yet they, you know,
Oh,
they would
wow.
never come to you. Why are you doing this? Why are you wearing this? Why are you doing this?
so I could
Unlike
walk,
the big
I could
cities,
walk like this
unlike-
on
unlike-
Gardea, normal.
And like the big cities,
Yeah.
where there's a lot of nightclubs, there's a lot of like, you know, things, but yeah, they judge you. Why are you doing this? Why are you having
Let me
tattoos?
tell you a
You know
story.
what I'm saying?
You know,
I was in Algiers, I was in the city, and me and my cousin, we just went out, went shopping, and we ended up in this marketplace, yeah. And you know how Algerians are, they know you, they don't know you, they're going to talk to you anyways. And I was, do you know what I mean? They know you, they don't know you, they'll talk to you. And we were just looking, I think she was looking at scarves or whatever, and I was wearing my scarf like this, and we were just all talking. And then I hear this one guy, just all I hear is, oh, هذه نص hijab, and we start laughing, and we die. And I turned, I was like, you talking to me? Like, I was like, no, you're not, have نص hijab. I was like, what? I was like, what are you talking about? But it's little things like that, it's all love, it's all banter, but I'm like, I see you.
I see
Because if I wore my scarf and I covered my neck, you wouldn't have nothing to say. But because my neck is out, I'm a half hijabi, is basically what they said to me. But because I know my people, I don't take offense. Like, it is what it is. We laughed it
Right,
off.
yes.
Do you know what I mean? We went
You need
out.
to adapt with them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you need to learn how to
Yeah.
maneuver with the people.
Exactly, yes. I like this.
Because if you're somebody that is, especially you're born and raised here and you're going back home, the way people are very different, and a lot of people take offense to that because they don't understand. You know, like if you understand people's cultures, their mentality back home, whatever, they can say anything to you, and it's fine. You can laugh it off. But a lot of people are sensitive, so a lot of people will go back home. Especially, I feel like Algerians here, we're very soft. Like the way we were raised, the way like we've gone through hardship. Yes, we've had to be a type of way, of course. But to go back home, we're very soft. We're almost protected. Like, we don't get to see how things really are. That's why I decided to go back home by myself. I was like, forget this. I'm going
wow.
to explore my country. Like, you can take me anywhere, drop me anywhere in Algiers. I know where I'm going.
Wow.
always
like-
manners.
100%. I said to my parents, I was like, I want to be able to know Algeria better than I know London. Like, know Algiers better than I know London. Now, like, take me anywhere. Yeah, I can get from here to there to, like, tell me the location. Let's go.
You know what? I think I do think the same way they see us, we see you as well.
Do you think?
Yeah, 100%. I see
know.
them Algerians who were born and raised in the UKs. I get the impression that they do not really like us.
Really?
Yes, I get that a lot, especially girls.
Ah,
Especially
okay.
girls. They'd be like,
Girls,
oh, where are
yeah.
you from? I'm from Algeria. Are you actually from Algeria? Yes. Okay, see you later.
But these
I
Algerian
was
girls.
like, you see, I might be a good man.
Really?
Man.
Yes.
Just give me a chance.
Okay,
man.
okay.
I might be a good man.
Do you guys find it hard to date or to be with? Because I'm like, everyone that I speak to that's Haraga, obviously, ideally, they would love an Algerian woman or someone at least close, like
Yes.
North Africa.
Yes, yeah.
But it's hard for them because the Haraga or people have this prejudice of like, oh, well, he's not born here, so the mentality is different. That's what scares people. It's not even a thing of like, oh, it's because you're not from here or whatever. Like, it's not that. It's like people think, oh, you know, Hadou blood, they came from back home. Like, they're gonna have the same mentality.
Yeah.
Like, they're gonna be tight. They're gonna be this. They're gonna be strict. But I mean, at the end of the day, if you're here and you're surviving your life here, your mentality has to be different because you can't apply that
Exactly.
here. So, do you find it hard to settle down with somebody of your culture here because of that?
It's almost impossible.
Really?
Yeah.
it depends as well, like on the parents as well. Even for example, you born in here, and like, maybe you don't know, like you don't have like much knowledge about like people from like coming from home and all that, but your parents they do.
Yes,
because
of
they
course.
born and raised
And they came
They
here.
know the code.
You know, like
They know
where it is,
yeah,
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
even if you accept it, your parents they say that no, it's coming from home. You know, like a lot
Do you
of
know
people,
what?
they
That's
have that.
true. That is true. A lot of Algerian, like I can say, I love my parents. Shout out, mum and dad. We love you. Do you know what I'm saying? Don't get onto me. Don't kill me. But I know, like, if I brought one of you home, for example, say you're coming to the house, they're like, oh, I want to marry Mariam. I'm like, okay, cool. Come meet Berba. Come meet my dad. My dad will be 10 times harder than on you purely because he knows that you weren't born here. So he knows the mentality that you might have. And then also, it's also not knowing how you adapt. So he doesn't understand what mentality you might have now.
Yeah.
And that's why they will be harder on you because it's like they can only assume that you're like this. But if you've been here 10 years, 15 years, whatever, your mentality is going to change. But they don't know how it will change because you're not born here. Does that make sense? And I think a lot of parents are very protective because they're like, look, we came here, you were born here, like you can do better. But they don't, I don't know, I think it's weird. I just think,
It's weird.
I don't know,
It's
I
weird.
think like a person is a person, innit? Like if the
Yeah.
person is good to you and they're like on their deen and you get on with them and they're, you know, they have ambitions and they're building for themselves, then why not? Like
Why
at the end of the
not?
day,
That's
is
true,
a person
yeah.
is a person. But I do understand like the extra layer of like, I need to be protective of my daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think sometimes they take it too far, and sometimes they do. They you know what? If you were born and raised in this country, and then it's like if I was born and raised in this country, and I meet your dad, even though I commit mistakes, but he's likely to forgive me.
Yes, 100%.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
if I was Algerian, and I do my best, and I do literally 8 things or 9 things right, and I commit one mistake, he won't forgive me. That's the impression I get. Because it'd be like, if you did that, you're likely to do more. Means no. You know what I'm saying?
True.
You know
But
what I'm saying?
I also think it can be the opposite. So like,
Well, yes,
but obviously there's
obviously, yes.
minorities, whatever. So like, I'll give you an example. Like my mum, I love you. Please don't kill me. Okay. My mum, my whole life has said to me, I'll say it in Arabic first
Yeah.
for you lot, so it really
Hold on.
hits.
عربي.
I said, my mum used to always say to me, she's like, جيبي وش تحبي ما تجيبي تشتري.
Wow.
From the jump. So
Clear
mommy,
as
yeah,
that.
Okay,
my mom used to say,
straightforward.
so from the jump, she used to be like, bring me anyone you want, just don't bring me in Algeria. And I used to be like, oh my God, raw, why? Like,
Why?
what is the issue? And then my dad is the opposite. He was like, I would always prefer for you to get married to an Algerian person, but as long as they're Muslim, like,
Yeah.
it's your life. Do you know what I'm saying? But I know for a fact my dad would have, like, if I brought an Algerian man home, haraga, illegal, whatever the weather, he would be happy.
Yeah.
'Cause he'd be like,
Shout
oh,
out to dad.
yeah.
Shout out to dad.
Whereas
Shout out to dad.
my mum will put
That's
you
a
through
real-
it though.
That's a real parent.
Yeah,
you know.
my
I
mum
like
will
that, I
put
like
you
that.
through it. She will test you. She will
Of
be like,
course.
so
Of course.
that you do 8 things, 1 thing bad. That's my mum. But my dad he'll stick.
Yeah.
He'll stand up for
That's
you.
fair.
He'll be like, you know
Yeah, that's
what?
actually-
You know,
I like
they
that.
just came. They're finding their way. Like,
I
there's
need to
more
meet him.
empathy. You come.
I need to meet you there.
Come. We'll do a dinner. Ramadan's coming. Let's do
Inshallah,
it.
inshallah.
Inshallah.
You know, Tizi Wuzu actually gets good cooking,
Do you
bro.
get it?
Trust
Oh,
me,
you
bro.
get proper Algerian food in my household. Don't get it
Trust
twisted.
me.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What about, so obviously you started your podcast now and you have a very big Algerian following, mainly because obviously you speak in Arabic for a lot of it and also you have your subtitles and you've been able to build an audience through our people and expand. What do you want to do with the podcast? Like, where do you see it going?
It's like, I'd like first to talk about the purpose as to why we started this podcast.
Yeah.
From the
Talk
very
about
beginning.
it.
So,
Let's go.
me and Hamada, we were talking, it's like we've spoken about our audience target. Do you remember Hamada? And our audience target, it was meant to be these, is like the lost boys in Algeria, them boys who takes a lot of drugs, all this, you know what I mean? It's very common in my country, unfortunately. It's not like here you find a dude, they take drugs, but they do it responsibly.
Yeah, back
For us
home
now,
it
it's
was-
different,
yeah,
exactly.
It's very
so
different,
we
yeah.
wanted to target them people.
Sick.
And we show them that we and you, we are the same.
Yes.
We might do the same what you do.
Yeah. Everyone's
but
got
do
a
it
past.
responsibly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
everyone.
that was our target.
I love that.
But the thing is,
Here we go.
after we started, we
Yes.
realized that the audience, like all the followers, they're the educated people.
Educated
You know what I mean? And people be like, "Are we
Opposite
swearing or
of
not?" I was
everything.
like, "Oh, man, we did not expect that."
Wow.
So now we had to adapt.
But do you think it's because the educated people have more access to like the social media to because I feel like look back home, if you're tired of smoking like you're doing your thing. A lot of the time when you're under a substance or whatever, you don't care about what's going on social media. You're just living your life the way you want to live it. When people are when we say educated back home, we just mean somebody that is a bit more qualified or someone that has had an education. I feel like people in certain positions will have more access to the internet, more access to social media, and that's probably why like you've pushed that audience.
Believe me,
I don't
now
think so.
everyone is in social media because back
Do you
home,
think?
back home they got not. I'm not talking about majority, but like most of people got like nothing to do, so
Right.
the only thing
Yeah.
they're doing go on social media. Like a lot of people, like they are jobless, so what they do, they just go on social media.
Right.
Everyone has access to social media. That's why, like, and for us, as you know, said, we would like targeting some certain people, but now it's like completely different because like we talking about a lot of things and swearing on the same time, and then we had a lot of messages. A lot of people said, "Guys, we're watching you like with kids, with family."
Oh,
so
wow. It's a
we have-
family channel now.
yeah, we have to adapt. And
Okay.
plus, what we're doing now, as you said, we translate to Arabic. So
Right.
everyone got access. Like everyone can understand what we're saying.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So so obviously your purpose was to target a particular group of people. You've started, it's gone the opposite way.
Completely opposite.
So how do you manage that now?
So now we had to adapt. Like, for instance, there was a lot of swearing when we talk because
Yeah.
we wanted it to be like a street podcast.
Yeah, you're just
You know
talking
what I mean?
to your
Just
friends,
talking,
film
so
it
there was
and
a lot
put
of
it out
swearing
there.
and all that.
Yeah.
In English, so we don't swear in
No,
Arabic.
not in Arabic.
That's a rule from the very beginning.
Really? So
Because-
you can swear in English, but not in
Not
Arabic?
yeah,
Arabic, no.
because if you swear in English, for us,
It's light. It's not
No,
the same.
It's not even swearing because
Yeah,
it's
it's
not part
just-
of our culture.
well,
So it's
yeah.
not considered swearing.
Yeah.
You know
See?
what I'm saying?
Okay.
So yeah, I was like, yeah, we can do that. Just
Yeah.
because that's the way we talk in
Right.
real life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then after we have realized that our audience is coming from that sort of background, so we had to adapt and stop doing that. And now we're moving into like the way we talk and the way we show in our like educated part instead of like street
Yeah.
side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because me and Hamada, you could say we like half. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a word in my country, it's called amiq.
What does that mean?
Yes, it's more like a hippie.
Ah,
Yeah.
then that's me.
So
Yeah.
and there's two words. So there's in boys and girls. So you find amiq and you find mariul.
Mariol.
So amiq, they tend to like they listen a lot of English. They listen to music like what's her name, Billie Eilish. and all that. You know that
Billie
style.
Eilish, yeah,
They have
yeah.
skateboards. They have
They're like hipsters.
hipsters.
Oh,
That's it.
I remember when I first went, when I was 16, and my first time went to there, those were the only communities. All the skaters,
Yeah.
all the hipsters, with the shirts and everything.
That's it. And then you get
Okay.
mariul.
Mariul
So
is-
mariul like proper Arabic music, Qarai music,
Oh.
and they wearing like what's it called? Lacoste.
Okay.
And Nikes, TN.
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
you know that
Yeah.
that sort of
like
style.
the French Algerian
Yes.
like
That's
music.
it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
I'm with that.
me and Hamada, we think we half. You got a bit of that and a bit of that. So that's why we're thinking we're going to target the other side of being mariul. You know what I mean? The mariul side. But we realized later that the mariul side's not really working. So
Right.
we need to show our amiq side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing now.
Oh, that's a very interesting way to think about that because, I just think that's really smart. Like for me, I'd be like, oh, this isn't working. Let's just try something else and keep it moving.
It's very important to understand your audience and the way they think.
Yes.
It's very
That's true.
important. If you do understand the way they think, I think you can easily you can communicate with them so easily. You know, they understand you. You'll understand them. And that is one of the main keys of success.
Okay,
Yeah.
we love to see
I
it.
think so.
Yes.
Okay, so now you're building this platform. Where do you see yourself in a year?
In a year, we're looking to be streamed, if that's the word,
Yeah.
in all North Africa.
Sick.
That's what we want.
They
So
want to take over, baby.
we
I
now
can't
take over.
wait.
So
I
now
can't
we're
wait.
the fastest
Yeah.
growing. I think we're the fastest growing platform in the country at the moment. It's like
Crazy,
comparing, so
mashallah.
there's another podcast in the country. It's called Joe Radio.
Joe Rogan.
Joe Radio. That's in Algeria. It's big. So they
Is
host
it?
they host celebrities, actors, like big names.
This
the
is
numbers
why I
we
need
get-
Algerians in my life. I need to know all this information. Listen, I can't wait to go back home and do what I need
The
to
numbers we get in, we're smashing them.
do. Yeah.
Trust me.
We love
we're
to
like
see it.
we're like smashing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think in a year time, I can see ourselves literally known by all Algerians, hopefully, if we carry on doing it in the right way, and obviously maintaining the right content as well, because that's what matters. Because we do not tend to be like some sort of waste man only talking and looking for money. No, we want to do it for a good purpose, and
Go on.
And plus, like, we're doing it in English as well.
Yes.
And like, in the same time, like, I'm not saying I'm not qualified to teach anyone, you know?
Yeah.
But like, on the way, how we're doing it, like, a lot of people, they enjoy it because it's in
course.
English, and people at home, they love to learn English. So that's why this is a good thing about it as well. We had a lot of feedback that guys just carry on doing it in English
Because they're
enjoy
learning
it.
with you.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
That's sick. And what's important is that your audience is like, you found your audience, and it's the same people, and you know what they want. They're not, you know what they like, and you're already doing it. You're just being yourselves, and you just know what conversations to have. If you are offered, let's say, a show back home in Zaire off the back of your success, would you go and do it? Like a daytime TV show. So say you had a TV show, basically like a live podcast, and you sit and you do everything that you're doing, but you're doing it on TV.
But in TV, no, I think I would never do that, because Mariam is completely different than here. Because TV in my country, they represent an agenda.
Limited as well.
We don't represent any agenda. It's like whether
That's a very
it's
good
religious,
answer.
whether it's politic, we don't.
Right.
But in TV, I think you are forced to. You are very tight. The way you talk, the way you
very
present
tight.
yourself.
Very
you're
sensitive.
because you're TV.
Yeah.
Because there's families watching you. But unlike a podcast, a street where it's like
You
more
choose
you are
to watch
you
it.
choose.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
At the end of
choose
the
to
day,
watch it.
you clicked on it. No one forced
Exactly.
it. Yeah.
So that's why I think our concept is it's like it cannot be streamed in TV, and we do not want it to be streamed in TV, because simply we don't want to represent any sort of agenda. That's what it is.
I love that. Oh my
Yeah?
God. I'm actually so happy. I'm just sat here smiling. I'm like, I'm proud of my people. I'm proud to see my people doing things. Do you have any questions for me?
You know,
Any random question?
huh?
Anything?
Well, I'll ask you. It's like I was thinking to come as like I was coming all the way here, and I was thinking I'm gonna ask her that question of the fact that they don't really like us or being from Algeria. That was the main question, but I thought about it a long time ago. I was like,
Right.
because I've experienced that before.
Right.
You know,
So what's the question if you were to ask me?
I was gonna ask you why.
Why?
I was gonna ask you why do you guys you do not even give a chance to someone who was born and raised in the country and being illegal? Because the fact that you're being illegal, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're a bad guy. I've been
100%.
I've been a legal man for a few years. I've never stole. I've never done a bad thing.
Yeah, me
I've
too.
Do you want me to tell
broken
you?
some law, obviously, because I had
Yeah,
to.
but
Otherwise,
look-
I can't survive.
Look, people, whether you're born here or you're not born here, people break the law. It's not about that. I think culturally, we have a prejudice. So we prejudge people, especially our own people. And I think we're very harsh on our own people. And I think when you're born and raised here and you're first generation, you are the learning point and you are the pinnacle point. Like for me, I'm the oldest. So like my family learned English through me going to school and speaking in English.
Wow.
Do you know what I'm saying? So the things that I had to do and adapt to as the eldest child, as a first generation, your parents almost, they teach you how to be grown very young. So but look out for this, make sure this doesn't happen, and it's the idea of, you know, we have this culture of like, for example, my mum will always tell me the reason why you should never marry someone that's illegal or has been illegal is because they'll just marry you for papers. And it's stuff like that. They have that perception, or they'll be like, oh, okay, cool, he's been here for X amount of time. Does he speak English, or what does he do? Because we have this prejudice or this stigma, let's say, of Algerians coming here, they don't learn English, they sit around, they maybe get a job, but they don't really get, do you know what I'm saying? There's a big community here that is like that. So I think a lot of Algerian or North African women, when it comes to their men not being born and raised here and committing to that, is scary because there is a level of stability that as a woman we need anyways, and something that we need it to be provided. And it's harder for you. Like, especially as an illegal, like if before you have your papers, like you're doing things like, yeah, you can fall in love and you can get married and all this stuff, but where's the stability? Like, how do I know in my heart that you're not going to leave me as soon as I get papers? I don't. Right? Right?
I was going to take us back to the whole
I
thing.
don't know that.
I'm sorry, but like you got married, and the marriage is like, it's like a gamble. Like you married like illegal person, you married like another person, even like, for example, an English person, whatever. He could be, I don't know, he could be anything. He could be a scammer. He could be like a
100%
serial killer. You know, I mean,
100%.
and it's like you gambling. So like, I mean, what's the difference between an illegal and someone else? So it's just the illegal person. You know,
it's just the stigma. I don't think it's a personal thing. I think it's very much a perception. People have a perception of this is what an illegal person is like, no matter what. Even after you become legal, whatever the weather, they'll be like, oh, but you're not from here though. Like, you're not born here. Like, people think there's a big difference in mentality, in the way that you are, in the treatment, but they don't realize, for example, like you said, your first year in your relationship versus your last year in your relationship is very different, like within yourself and character, within your treatment. So that's why it's important for you to publicly be out here and speak on your story, because people forget to see the growth. They think, oh, you're illegal, you're going to stay the same. You're going to have the same mentality for the next 15 years, whatever.
Yes.
They forgot the progress that
we're progressing.
And they also forget the generation that we live in, the illegals that are coming, especially like for my people, I'm not going to speak on anybody else's, but like they come, they study, they learn, they make something of themselves. Whereas maybe 10, 20, 30, like our parents' generation, they're not like that. Like my dad knows somebody, you know, who came the same time he came. Till this day, he doesn't speak English.
Wow.
And that's like 25, almost 30 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Do you know what I'm saying? So perception is important. And I think the way to break that down is to just show people like you're normal. Do you know what I mean? It's to show people like, yo, like, yeah, okay, my life took a different path. You know, I wasn't here and I came here and I had to build for myself. But that doesn't mean I'm a different person or my personality is different. Like, I'm the same as you.
Yeah.
I've been through something when I was in a relationship. I'm not going to lie to you. It's probably in my 4th year, right? So I've reached a stage where I felt like this relationship's not really going well.
Right.
And for the fact that she might think I'm doing this because I've already got documents.
It's insecurity.
I had to push myself to be like, no, it's all good, and you have to adapt with this woman, and you have to try to love the person.
You have to prove to yourself and to her.
And I thought at the time, it's not fair.
It's not fair.
It's definitely not fair for me as well.
Yeah.
And I do understand her side as well, but even for me, it's not fair.
It isn't fair.
You know, because it's like, okay, you married me, and whether I'm a good woman or not, you'll have to be with me because I've given you documents.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think, and there's a lot of women, whether English, whether Algerian, whether East Europeans, they do it for the same purpose.
Yes.
They get men because they know that man, he needs documents. And they use that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and they
use that
trap
as a
them.
weapon. Exactly. They use that as a
them.
weapon.
They try to have kids with this person.
Exactly.
And
I was like, exactly, because he needs me. So that's why.
But women like that are
demand.
sad.
You know what I'm saying?
Women like that are sad and alone and depressed, and like trapping a man, period, like full stop, is a problem. Let alone trapping somebody that you know is an illegal and you know needs papers, and you know this, like there's high risk to this. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of women, when they marry somebody, especially if like I would say especially if they're not from the same culture, because there becomes a power complex.
True.
They'll be like, cool, you're the man, but at the end of the day, I can ring the police right now or immigration, you can go. And there's always that like threat. So
That's true.
And which is hard.
It's very hard.
And I don't think it's right. I think women, like, at the end of the day, if you're gonna marry someone, be serious. Like, if know who you're marrying, know why you're marrying this person. If you agree and keep it moving. And if you don't agree, just back out and say no.
And I think by time you can easily tell if this man is lying to you or not.
100%.
Easily,
Yes.
easily, and then and it's not even by time. The first few months, because it's like he might be lying to you, but his manners can never lie. You know what I'm saying? So I think
way how
you
he
can
treat you is the
easily
way
tell
how-
from the
yeah,
first
that's
2-3
true.
months. You can tell whether this man wants you for real or wants you only for documents. With obviously considering that this man needs a document.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So you cannot be just like, oh no, you need to want me to forget about documents. You're like, no,
Yeah.
darling, I cannot forget about documents because we without
can't.
documents, I can't be with you.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Can't be here.
So,
Do you know what I mean?
can't be-
Let them be with you. Forget you. I can't even be here. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's what it is.
What about you? Do you have any questions for me?
What's your advice for the people, for our people that come in this country? Like
My-
the first, Go.
Okay, please.
Come on.
Bismillah. Don't hate me.
Comfortable, eh?
That's it there.
My first piece of advice is work on your patience, because you don't know how long like you can be waiting for. You don't know how long you could be suffering for, going through something. So you really need to have a level of like
Prepare
patience
yourself.
and like have a level of like inner peace, like whether it's through prayer, whether it's through like meditation, whether it's through art or work or whatever. Find something that is going to bring you peace, because when you are in a situation where you have no control, it's very difficult. And when you're in a situation where anything can happen at any point in your life, it's like it's scary. So patience. Second thing is, I think language is important. I don't think you need to be perfect, but I think communication. Like you should be able to go out by yourself and survive. Like even if you don't know like the buses or the trains, you should be able to go and be like, hi, how do I get from A to B? How do I do this? Or like basic communication is important, because it's not only something that will benefit you then in the present, but it will benefit you a lot in the long run, because it will save you a lot of headache and it will save you a lot of misunderstanding in the future. My third thing is prioritize.
Prioritize what?
Prioritize yourself.
Yes.
And the reason why I say this is because at the end of the day, men are men. Women are women as well, but men are men.
Oh my God, we're going back.
Yeah, we're going back. We're going back. Men are men. And I feel like as a man, yes, it's easy to go down the route of a woman and all this sort of stuff. But if you don't have the motivation to want better for yourself, regardless, because at the end of the day, the woman can leave you and you're in the same situation again, right? So don't depend on anybody. Learn to be independent. Learn to manage with yourself. Like find a way to make money. I always say, whatever is going to pay your bills, do what you need to do and be quiet about it. You don't need to tell people your business. You don't need to tell people your life. You need to survive, because at the end of the day, who's paying your bills? Nobody but you. So do what you need to do. Be quiet about it. Prioritize yourself. Yeah, date, have fun, enjoy your life, of course, but don't be stupid. Don't just do things to do things. Don't go out and get drunk and then you're fucked and now you're arrested and now you're going back home. Do you know what I'm saying? Because you went on a night out and you did the maddest. Yeah, be responsible and
do your thing and be responsible.
And just educate yourself, especially on the laws of the land, because if you don't know your rights in this UK, it's very long for you.
That's true.
So that would be like my personal piece of advice.
And also be very diplomatic when you deal with these people here.
Interesting. See, I would have never said that.
Be very diplomatic.
Why would you say that?
That's why I told you, like, for the fact we come in, it's like from that sort of a background, we use a lot of emotions. Emotions are very involved in our decisions.
Right.
So when you come here to the first world people, I'm not sure if I should say this word or not, but yes, whether we like it or not, these countries are highly developed compared to us.
The West.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So here they're very diplomatic, and they deal and they only see the good part on you. So you're bad and you're good, and they only focus on the good part of you, and they do. And
they pull it out.
And they do take advantage of that. You know, they do it very smartly.
Yes.
If they want to punish you, they will never show you that they are mad at you.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? They're very diplomatic, cold-blooded.
Oh,
and you need to adapt to that. You need to adapt to that.
Yeah, I always say to people, at the end of the day, no one's paying your bills and everyone's out for themselves. So be smart. That's why I say know the laws of the land, because especially as an illegal, when you're trying to do certain things, so you're trying to better yourself, maybe trying to get certain jobs, or, you know, you're talking to new people, you're building for yourself, you're trying to develop relationships. A lot of people are very quick to take advantage, because at the end of the day in London, whether we like it or not, even me being born and raised here, it's hard. London
I
is
can
not
imagine, I
cheap.
can imagine.
The lifestyle is not cheap. Everyone is just trying to make money. Everyone works 2 jobs. Everyone's suffering. Everyone's tired. We're all depressed. So
true.
if you're going to come here and you want to make something of yourself, play the game. Learn the game and play it, because people are sly and people will take advantage of you, because if it benefits them and it can help them, they'll do it. And this is just the London
True.
way of being. And I think, don't be naive enough to come to the West, whether it's London or France or America, all these places, and think, okay, I might suffer for 5 years and then build my life and everything's going to be okay. You need to adapt, because even after you get your papers, people still will view you as you're an immigrant.
Exactly.
You're this
I like
person.
this. I like this.
100%.
I read that.
You got to
Yes,
be
yes.
educated.
True.
And if you know how people view you, you know how to move with people.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's
Definitely.
that would be the vibe.
Jeez.
Oh my gosh. Okay, any story times you guys have for us that you maybe want to share, whether it's from back home, whether it's from an experience here, whether it's podding, guests, what would you like to expose for us today? I'm here to expose everyone.
We've had a lot of stories here. You know.
A lot of stories, you know, bad and
Good.
good, you know.
Yeah. Give me one bad experience you've had in London.
Oh,
I've had a weird experience. Not bad. I've had a really weird experience.
Okay,
Let me tell you
let's
this.
go.
It's really weird. You know what? I'm not sure if I consider it like instant karma or something. But
Oh.
anyway. So at this time I was homeless, right?
Okay.
And I was illegal. And at the time I told you earlier, I was staying at buses.
Mm.
So I get in the bus, all bus journeys are, I keep myself warm,
Mm.
you know. On that night, my Oyster card was running out. So it was ending at midnight. And it was winter time, it was freezing.
Oh my
So I was
gosh.
thinking, I was like, oh man, you know what does that mean? I'm gonna have to sleep in the street. I'm gonna
Yeah.
have to stay outside the street. So I was thinking to go to the bus driver and I'm asking him, like, "Can you please let me in?" Because he was like 5 to midnight, something like this.
Mm.
And then I went upstairs into the upper deck, you know.
Yeah.
I sat there and I was like, oh God, I was praying God, you know, and I looked there and I found Oyster cards like on the
No,
floor,
it's
yeah.
Pamela.
So I grabbed it and I went downstairs to check it, you know. If you
If
put
it
it in a
works.
reader, you can see.
Yeah.
And I checked it and it had a month in it. A month, and I was like,
Banging.
a month was sleeping in the bus, bro.
Yes.
That was one of the best days of my life. I was like,
Wow.
a month worth of sleeping in the bus, and then I met this guy who looked after me.
So how did you guys meet? Let's
question.
talk about that. Sorry. Do you know what? I was supposed to ask you this at the very beginning, but my head just went into a different conversation. But
He came before me, like 3 years or something before, no?
yeah.
3 years before.
Yeah. Basically, I met Sino, like, we have like a friend common. Like, I met this guy, like, he was here in the UK. He studied like for a couple of months. And then I met that guy. And then that guy was like friend of Sino, I believe.
Yes, we all from the same town.
Yeah,
by the
we're
way.
all from the
From
same town.
back
You
home?
know, like
Yeah.
Sino, he lived like 10 minutes away from me.
I love
I
that.
never
Well,
met
I
him
love
back
it.
home.
I
You know what I
actually,
mean?
I love it.
And then I met, and then he said like, oh, look, this guy, let's go and meet this guy. This guy,
Right.
he came like 3-4 days ago. And I said, okay, I'm free today. Let's go.
Right.
I met Sino on that day. Like,
Okay.
no, after a couple of months, I believe.
Me?
Yeah.
No. I was 3 days old in the UK at the time.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, you're a baby.
I was still a
Yeah,
baby.
it's like 3 days. And then we met Sino. So like, we met him like, hi, how you doing? This is me. I can't, where you live back home and all that stuff. This, okay. And then on that time, Sino, he was staying with his family and like, he couldn't stay with them. And then like, Sino had like, I
Because
believe,
it was school family.
he had like
school,
100
school accommodation.
yeah, he had like 150 euro. That's all I got.
Wow.
No, first.
Yeah.
So he rented me a room.
And then like, I was talking to the guy and he said like,
Sorry. Ignore me, please. Just tell your story. I'm a bit dramatic. Ignore me.
yeah, basically I met this guy. I was talking to the guy and like, Sino, I saw Sino like, Sino, he wasn't feel comfortable and all that stuff. And I talked to the guy and he told him like, okay, look, this guy, he need a place. But he got like, I asked Sino and he said like, I got 150 euro.
Okay.
And I looked at the guy and I said, okay, look, let me call this guy. I called like, he's from my city as well.
Sick.
And he been here for a long time. I called him, I said like, oh, do you have a room? And he said, yeah, I got a room. And I asked him, I said like, do you want to rent it? And he said, yes. I said, okay, let me call you back. I talked to Sino friend and they told him, oh, listen, mate, I don't know this guy. I just met
Didn't
him
know each
just
other
now.
at the time.
I don't know, okay, you know, like, let's put some money and just we get him a room.
This is my
So
people.
they've
yeah.
done some
This is
sort of
my
donation
people.
for me.
Yeah.
They've done some sort of donation for a month.
I love that.
And this is the way how I met Sino. Since that day, like I was like
Okay,
friend with Sino. And Sino had a bad time. Like after that, on that time as well, like me, I left my room and all that stuff, and I was like literally just staying with someone else.
Yeah.
Like even for me, I was in a bad situation, but
You
this is
help
why
regardless.
Sino like stay in the bus for a couple of months.
Yeah.
Almost 2
Yeah.
months.
Do you think a lot of Haraga go through homelessness, but they don't speak about it?
Yes.
I don't think it's the case anymore.
Really?
No, they do.
think?
Believe me, they do.
Yeah, there's a lot. That's true.
Listen,
I don't know.
Miriam, I'm not talking about myself because me and Sino, we came to this country with a visa. Like we spent 2 hours and a half on a flight from Algeria to London. There's some people, you know, like
Yeah.
they went through like 13, 14 countries,
Yeah.
you know, to arrive. They spent like 2 years to get, can you imagine your trip to Europe, 2 years,
Yeah.
take you 2 years to get there. Me, only 2 hours and a half. In this
Like,
2 years,
tough,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? In this
It's mad. It's mad.
And I'm not talking like they go through like hard, like tough places, like countries. Like I'm talking about Bulgaria. I'm talking about like Romania. There's like no work, no money, no nothing, and they sleep outside. And you know, they spend a lot of time outside, like in the cold, like not like us. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of people they go through a hard time. To be honest,
True.
Do you think more and more Algerians are immigrating to the UK now than before, or more before than now?
I think it's
The
the same ratio. I think
Same amount. We don't change. We're
Never
consistent.
change, but never change. You see, I think it's all about the purpose. You know, it's
Yeah.
all about the purpose. We Algerians, we do not come to Europe because we
Want to be
we
here.
are poor or something.
Yeah.
No, we don't. We're not. If you go to Algeria, we're the only African country that have some sort of universal credit. Only
right.
African country.
Right.
If you go to Algeria, you'll be paid for doing nothing. The only African country that do that, you know? So there's no one is poor.
Yeah.
I think people come here for more like the European dream.
Yeah.
Do you know
like
what I mean?
we don't have the American dream. We have
That's-
the European
So
dream.
you have the American dream, we have the European dream.
Do you know what? I said this to my parents. I was like, you were all sold dreams. They gave you dreams and you ate them up. Because, you know, people think it's like, as much as, of course, I would always say, if you think you can make a better life for yourself in the West, do it 100%. Because at the end of the day, despite what you've said, it's hard in blood. It's hard. Like a lot of people don't have jobs. There's no jobs out there. It's all marifa. You got to know people. Like the system there is very different and it's very difficult. So if you can come and do it. But just because we're in a more developed country doesn't mean it's any easier for you to build your
Absolutely,
life. Like our parents came, like my dad, the jobs that he worked, he used to, my dad, you know the overground trains, the old stations, like the scary English stations. He used to, in the winters, he used to wipe the whole floors, and you know, like the tarmac, like the yellow lines and stuff, like he used to lay them out, and like he used to tell me he would start at midnight and he wouldn't finish till like 6 a.m, and it's freezing, like in the snow, everything.
Wow.
Like he used to do that. They used to my mum now, she works in hotels, like she cleans hotel rooms and toilets and all this stuff. Like it's hard, it's not glamorous, it's not nice. Like we do what we have to do to make a living for ourselves. If you're willing to do that here because the opportunity to do that here is wider, then come. But it's not better. That's my opinion. Like I think
that's true. No, in the bled as well, like there's no stress. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Oh,
if you're not working, like you still can survive. You still like can wear nice clothes.
there's
you
always
still-
a way. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But here, if you don't work, you're gonna sleep outside. You're in there cold, but no one gonna look after you.
Yeah, you gotta suffer.
Yeah, you're gonna suffer.
Yeah, that's why it's important to be independent. Don't depend on no one. Like my biggest and patience. I'm telling you. Listen, the
You
West
need
will
it.
make you go crazy. Like people really underestimate how much harder it can be. Like especially it's a foreign country. This is not your land. So even with that on top of it, I respect it. I respect it. I always say to my parents, well, like the fact that you came here and you built a life for yourself, if I'm not rich, if I don't make it out, well, I don't know what we're doing. Because at this point, like, my parents, they don't they don't care. Like my parents have always said, if we had money back home, we would have never come here.
That's true.
Do you know the way you could live
That
back
is,
home?
you know, like that's Sino. That is Sino. He said like, if I have a money, I will never come. Sino, he said like, if I make like, for example, if I make like $1.5 grand, I will stay home.
Yeah.
Now he gonna move and stay home.
I'd rather be rich back home than here.
Than here.
Same.
100%.
You think we want to stay here? Even though I'm born here, I don't want to stay here.
Wow.
I always say to people, look, I'm going to make my money and then we're going to pick up and we're going back home.
See you later.
And we're going to live the way we want to live properly.
I was going to ask you this question actually earlier. You actually see yourself living
You know
living
what?
back
Yeah.
home? So
No, no,
you
no,
be
no, no,
honest.
no, 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 no,
Don't
no,
be
wait,
like,
wait,
oh,
wait,
no, don't sleep.
Do you know what? Because my family say this to me all the time. Like, Miriam, you are going to live back home. Honestly, if the money was there, yeah. Because
Really?
I believe, like, I love my country. I love my people. I love the fact that, like, I can walk from my grandma's house to my auntie's house in 10 minutes. Like, my family here is an island, or I have to go an hour away, or in Luton, or like, everyone's spread out. What? Furthermore, like, the way my family's quite known, like the last name, they know who you
Yeah.
are. So, you know, when you go home, obviously I know it's because I'm going on holiday, the treatment is different. But you know, you go home, oh, la famille, da 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 da, they're here. What? They come, they take my suitcase. I'm walking into someone's house, they're feeding me already. I haven't even gone upstairs. Like, and it's just like, when I go home, I feel like I'm at home. Do you know what I'm saying? And yes, it's different. Yes, it's hard. Maybe even me, my personality, my mentality is different and would be very hard to adjust or to be accepted. I understand that. But if I've got my own businesses, I've got my own house, I've got my own car, my family's close, that's all I need.
That's all you need.
Like, it's a vibe. My country's beautiful. I can go to the beach today and then go to the mountain tomorrow and then the desert the next day. What are you
Next day.
talking about?
A continent.
Everything.
Yeah.
Massive country.
Do you know what I'm saying? And I'm stuck in London. I can barely go to central London because there's strikes every week. And then, like, you breathe, you spend £100. It's
Oh,
like,
yes. Oh,
what is the
yes.
point?
That's too much.
Like, I would love to live back home. Honestly, it's a dream. Because like, even my parents, after a certain point, my youngest brother, he's what, 15, 18, 19, they're going back home.
Wow.
100%. Like, my mum is definitely going, my dad is going back home soon as well. Like, they don't want to be here. They're like, no, we came, we built our lives, we've given you the education,
That's
we've given
true.
you the privilege, build
Now
your
it's
life.
like,
We're going back home.
that's it.
Do your thing.
I like
Right.
that.
I'm like, okay, at least wait for me to get rich so we can go together. You know, what is this? You just abandoned me, but it's fine. But
Yeah.
I would love to. But a lot of people that are born here would never.
That's
Like, they
Yeah,
couldn't do it.
I think that's very dependent the way they were
Raised.
raised and brought up. You know, you were raised like
Properly.
Algerian way because
Of course.
both like your parents are Algerians, but there are
Alhamdulillah.
some other people they are very inspired
Western.
with the Western,
Yeah. Do you know what I don't
which
like?
is not really bad. It's just it's,
let me say, do you know
it's
what
a
I don't
preference. You know,
like?
I respect that.
You know, when people like, this is something I don't like about my community. I love my people, yeah, but please stop acting like you're not Algerian and you're French or you're English or you're Italian. I don't like that. Like, you know, they'll be like, oh, I'm half Algerian, half French. Babe, you're Algerian. Like, you're from Bled. Like, commit to who you are. Be
You
yourself.
should be proud of that, man.
Right.
You know, you come from like, I mean, we got a lot of history, bro. You should be proud of that.
Yeah.
Believe me, I'm
do you think?
really proud of that.
I kind of disagree with that.
I know, you know, like I'm
I
proud.
think you were born in a foreign country. You know, it's like you were raised with complete different ethics and manners. I think it's very normal to. If I was born in France, you know, and my
Wait.
dad raised me in a French way, I can't help it.
No,
I
you can be
consider myself
French by
French.
nationality, but you're not French. You're Algerian.
The only thing that French people will never consider me French. I understand this.
Yes.
No
and
matter what I
vice
do.
versa, yeah.
But for me, yeah, Algerian.
Yeah.
I disagree.
Come on,
Like, imagine me,
Algerian, bro.
imagine me walking around. I'm like, yeah, I'm English. I'm not. Obviously not. Do you know what I
And
mean?
about you, British.
I'm British. Yeah, I have like a British citizen.
Whether you like it or not. I think
Yeah,
you
no,
are
I'm a British.
you know what I'm
Like,
saying?
obviously, I was born here. Whatever, I can accept that. But like the mid, like, it's back home. Like if you were to take a DNA test, you're not gonna find England in any
No.
of me. Like, it's all back home. So
Mm.
just be proud to be who you are. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't let anybody try and make you feel less than because you're different, especially if you weren't born here and you come here. Be who you are.
You know, I think also it's very dependent on the language. I think the language plays a massive role here because if you don't speak the language, if you're an Algerian born in England and you don't speak Algerian,
Right.
you can never be Algerian.
I agree.
You can never be.
Yeah.
Impossible. Because
Yeah.
the language is the door.
The culture
to
is our
cult.
communication.
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So, but if you know the language, then yes, you are. An
That's why
Algerian.
I told you. That's why I
And
made
then
it
you
my
speak
mission.
it, so
I made it my
Tablet.
mission. I have to.
Tablet, bro.
I like that. I like that.
You have
Mario.
to.
I like
You
that.
have to
I
make
like
it your
that.
mission. Like for those of you that don't know, I was just speaking to them earlier, and I said, when I turned 16, I started going on my own every year to learn the language and learn the culture and just be like properly Algerian, because it's true. Like, I can say I'm Algerian, but if I've never gone back home, am I Algerian? Like, you've never gone to your country. Like, there are people that will be like, oh yeah, I'm from this country, but they've never gone to their land. You can't speak a word in your language. Like,
So if anyone asks you from here and be like, yeah, where are you from? What would you say?
what, in Zaire?
No.
Oh,
If you are going to, I don't know, Spain,
Yeah.
then you meet someone in Spain and ask you, where are you from? What would you say?
I say I'm from London, because
Right.
most people, when they ask, they're asking, like, where did you come from?
I understand.
Do you know what I'm saying? Especially if, like, when I went to Portugal, for example, they were like, oh, like, where are you coming from? Where are you from? I'd be like, oh, London. They'd be like, they'll ask you though, what's your background? Like, are you English? And I'd be like, no, I'm Algerian. And then, you know, in Portugal, they love us. I don't know why, but I remember we went to go do...
More or less, we're similar, more or less.
yeah, and I think because of, like, the Maghreb and, like,
Yeah.
all
Also,
the history and all that
Yeah.
colonization and whatever the weather, we're very
Yeah.
clicky. But we went kayaking in the ocean, yeah, me and my friend Ziria as well. That was a mess. That's a different story time for a different day, okay? They
Love
almost
the story.
died. The girl almost killed me, but it's okay. With some. But yeah, so, and we just started talking. I was like, oh yeah, I'm Algerian. They're like, oh my God, you know, there is this famous poet. And we're always poets. Or like books, or like something. There was this famous poet. He was born here, but he was Algerian, and he used to write about Portugal and da-da-da-da. And I took the name down and everything, and they just start telling you everything. I'm like, rah. I'm like, okay, I should have just said I was Algerian then. I don't know why you wanted to know I was from London. But yeah, it's difficult. Like,
Definitely, yeah.
if my people ask me, if I can tell, like, if you're Moroccan or Algerian or North African, I'd be like, I'm Algerian. Like,
So
I'm Algerian.
if I'm going to Spain and I meet a Spanish student and ask me, where are you coming from? Well,
You're coming from
supposed to
London.
say,
You're coming from London.
right.
But like, where are you from? Like, what's your
Background.
ethnicity?
Oh,
What are your
that
or
would make
some,
difference.
yeah, because some people say, where are your parents from? Which basically
Yeah.
means, what is your background? Like, every time someone says to me, like, where are your parents from? I say, I'm Algerian. That's what I say.
There's a lot of people get defended when you ask them where your parents are from.
Really?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah.
No,
I've
I
met a
don't
lot
think it's
like this.
defensive. I think it's the idea of, like, you think that I don't want to claim my country, so you're going to ask me where my parents are from instead of asking me where am I from, you know? So a lot of people are like that. They won't say, I'm from this country. They'll be like, I'm from London. They'll be like, oh, but my parents are from here. I'm like, no, babe, if your parents are from here, you're also from here. You're both from the same place. Like, but...
I always believed in the theory that if you're born to a land, you belong to that land regardless of your background.
I agree. I think you belong to it, but I think there's like, I can say, like, this is my land. Like, I'm born here, I've lived my whole life here, my
And what's
family's
this land
here.
called?
The United Kingdom.
No, what's this land called? United Kingdom, England.
England, yeah,
So
England.
that makes you English.
It makes me English by nationality, not by ethnicity.
I understand.
Do you understand? So, like, people ask me, but who are you? Like, what are you? I'm Algerian. That's my identity. I walk around is
It's different, man. It depends, like, on the person. Like, I know a guy. I was living with him in Lady Wall, and like, he hate Algeria.
Is it?
Yeah, he's
Is
mixed.
he Algerian?
No, he's mixed. His father is Algerian, but like, he hates it.
But a lot of people hate it because of their parents and what they, especially if
Yes,
they're
yes.
mixed. If they're mixed.
He's mixed.
Yeah, because if you're fully Algerian and you don't like blood, it's purely because they're westernized. That's my opinion. You can argue with the wall. I don't care. Argue with yourself. It's because you've been here your whole life. You want to be white. Be white. It's okay. We don't want you.
Yeah.
But
You know what?
we don't want you.
Look at this.
We don't want
Look
you.
at this girl. Man.
No, because you are the same people that would have sold us out back in the
Yes,
day.
exactly.
So if that's
Oh my
if
God,
that's how you want to
We
move,
suffer because of you. Because of you
period,
guys.
or you sellouts. But for people that are mixed, like, for example, I know a lot of people that are like, my friend Miriam, she's half Czech, half Algerian. Like, her mum is Czech though, but she has an amazing relationship with her dad. She claims she's Algerian. She doesn't even claim that she's Czech. Other people, you know, like, They might be mixed. Their dad might have left, or maybe their dad married for papers, and now they had a child, and dad's gone, and they're gonna be like, "Fuck Zayn, I'm not Algerian because my dad just married me for paper." Do you know what I'm saying? So people are
raised differently.
Yeah, raised differently. You're sensitive. You're gonna claim according to what means the most to you. And if you're from a particular country, but those people or that person that represents that country has only shown you negative or pain or whatever, you're not gonna claim it. Whether you like they won't. But I just think, if you're Algerian, you're Algerian, innit? Like, just don't complicate your life.
True. That's true.
Oh my gosh.
So true, man.
Yes. Any final thoughts before we wrap up? Anything you want to say? Anything you want to promote? The podcast, whatever.
Charity experience, baby.
Yes.
We're coming strong.
Yes,
We're coming very strong.
They're coming very strong.
Give us a few months, weeks, in fact.
Yeah.
Do
you know what I'm saying?
Really high pace.
Yeah. We love to listen. They're only a month in and they're doing better than me. Do you know what I mean? So,
you know what I mean?
Oh my gosh.
Doing that.
Anything else? Instagrams, YouTube? You want to promote anything?
Our page, all charity experience.
TRT
all
experience.
names.
I think the good brands, they sell themselves. So trust me, you sell itself. Don't worry.
Oh my gosh. All right, my lovelies. I hope you guys enjoyed. This was a very, very I love this episode. This episode, I could have cried, we laughed, everything, all the emotions. All of their information is going to be in the description below. Please, please, please check them out. If you do, Conscious Conversations sent you, so make sure you put that in their little chats and whatnot. Follow their pages. Any new updates from me? I've started vlogging, so expect some vlogs at some point in the near future. I don't know when. Do you know what I mean? It might happen, it might not, but I have started vlogging. A lot of people have actually asked me what type of content I'm going to produce. I want to leave that up to you lot. What do you want to see? Do you want to see more days of my life? Do you want to do more casual sit-down videos? Do you want me to do more challenges? Do you want me to collab with my guests on a funner scale? Do you know what I mean? Let me know. I'm going to be looking out for that. And thank you for tuning in. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm going to give you a round of applause for jumping on. Obviously, they're the first time they're being guests and stuff, so it's a vibe. I'm very honored. And yeah, guys, I will see you soon. Bye.
Bye, guys.